Hello and welcome to LPS Board Update. I'm Communications Director Mindy Burback.
And I'm Don Mayhew, Lincoln Board of Education member. This is an opportunity for us to learn more about what's happening around Lincoln Public Schools and for you, our community, to ask questions.
If you do have any questions, type them into the chat and we will respond during our live show on Tuesday. Don, we've had several big announcements this last week. Let's start with our pandemic update.
The Lincoln-Lancaster County Health Department announced on Tuesday a new registration website for all school staff in Lancaster County. This registration portal will provide the health department with the information necessary to plan for the vaccination of school staff when the vaccine doses become available. Dr. Eric Weber, Associate Superintendent for Human Resources, has been meeting with the health department, and he joins us today to help us understand the process. Welcome, Dr. Weber.
Thank you, Don.
Eric, earlier this week, the health department announced this portal for LPS staff to register for the vaccines. What does this mean? Are we getting close to having the vaccine for our staff?
Yeah, well, thank you, Don. It definitely is a step in the right direction. As part of the Phase 1B process, the health department is asking that school staff complete this special online registration. And the employees will go in and they'll fill out information about themselves, information about their age, their roles, health conditions, and this will help the Lancaster County Health Department to begin to prioritize vaccinations as the vaccinations become available. So this is definitely a step in the right direction, and we were able to share that information with our staff this week, and I know that our staff has been in and is starting to fulfill that process of filling out those registrations.
Eric, once vaccinations start, what is the timeline for getting those shots into the arms of our staff?
Yeah, we don't know the exact timeline. Much of that will be dependent upon how many vaccine doses are available. And that is dependent upon how many vaccines come to the county and actually come to the state. So that is a big factor on how fast this timeline will move. But it is, the county will need to follow the Department of Health and Human Services vaccine order in their prioritization. And so as they work through that, we know that age has been a factor. And so the health department, the state health department, has allocated a certain amount that needs to go to 75 and older, 70 and older, 65 and older. And then there's a separate amount of about 10% that is being allocated for the other groups in Phase 1B. And that's first responders, utilities, correction staff. Educators are in that group, that other section of Phase 1B. So about 10% is being allocated for those purposes, and it really will depend on how many vaccines are actually going into that 10% right now.
One of the things that's been suggested is that Pat Lopez and the county health department should be doing more or doing a better job of prioritizing educators for getting the vaccination. What's your take on that?
I've found in my meetings and discussions and planning with them that they're doing an awesome job of getting vaccine into these groups as fast as they can. We meet with the county health department every week and plan and try to work ahead and think ahead in terms of next steps. They've been really, really good at communicating with us about what they think is coming. And it really just depends on how many vaccine are coming into the state and then flowing to the counties. I think that they're getting through them quickly. You probably have seen in the news, they have these vaccination clinics down at Pinnacle Bank. And I've talked to a few people that have gone through that process. It's very slick and smooth. They get them in and out of there fast. So my experience has been that the county health department has been outstanding at getting these vaccines out as quick as they can. The main issue right now is just how many vaccines are getting to the state and then getting down to the counties.
Do they have the power to readjust the prioritization? If they wanted to, could they bump teachers up to the top of the list right now?
No, the county health department has to follow the statewide vaccination prioritization order. So that prioritization order is developed by the Department of Health and Human Services. And then the individual county districts, health districts, have to follow that state prioritization order. And so they really don't have any way to alter that. And that's what's impacting some of the distribution.
So for our staff, how will they be prioritized to get the vaccine? Do we get to decide that?
No, we do not. We do not have any control over who will receive the vaccine and in what order. The way that the process has been set up is that our staff, individuals will go in, they will complete this registration. And again, it's going to ask them some questions about them, any health conditions they may have, their age, their role with the district. And then the county health department has an algorithm that they use within their system that will prioritize those individuals. And then the distribution of the vaccine will flow in that order of their top prioritization and move down. So we really don't have a say in that process. Our job was just to get them names of our staff so that we could get people registered, and then the county health department takes over from there.
And I think we've talked about this, but just to be clear, does LPS get to decide when the vaccine is distributed to our staff?
No, we do not. That is completely dependent upon the available vaccine that is here and that can be allocated to our phase 1B tier.
Okay, so why are we advocating for staff to get the vaccine as soon as possible?
Yeah, I mean, the evidence is really strong that this vaccine is effective. And we know that there can be some hesitancy about vaccines. We completely understand that. And we recognize that. But we also know, and the data is supporting that these vaccines are effective against this virus. And for us to get back to normal as a school district, back to normal as a community, really as a society, we believe and we think the more people that are vaccinated, the faster that's going to happen. And so we are encouraging it. We certainly are not requiring it as a district, but we are certainly encouraging it of our staff.
Okay, so getting back to this portal that the health department has announced for educators, is that for LPS staff only, or what all is included in that?
Yeah, it's for any educators in the Lincoln-Lancaster County area that are in education. So any employees in education is who that tier applies to. And so that's private, that's parochial, that's higher ed, anybody that works in the education sector.
I think this has been one of the hardest years ever for our staff, and it has been clear that they are essential workers. And so thank you very much for your work in continuing to fight for them and to advocate for them, and working with the county health department to get vaccinations for our staff. Thank you for that, Eric.
You bet. Thanks, Don.
Construction continues to progress on the new high school located in Northwest Lincoln. And just this week, LPS announced who will be the lucky principal to open the new high school. I am very excited to introduce our next guest, Cedric Cooper, the newest high school principal for LPS. Cedric, welcome and congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Mayhew. I definitely appreciate the congratulations, and I'm excited for this opportunity.
Call me Don. And you joined LPS in 2018 as the principal of SCO Middle School. Tell us a little bit about your educational journey.
Okay, my journey started at Northwest High School. I was a PE and a health teacher for 11 years in the Omaha public school system, and I really enjoyed my tenure there as a PE teacher. That's what I desired to do coming out of high school, and went to college and continued on, and I wanted to coach and I wanted to teach. So that's what I did. I did quite a bit of health and also with the PE. And then there was times that I was in the gym and I would talk to students in a one-on-one basis. And there was this program called Avenue Scholars. So I said, I wanted to find more out about this program. And when I learned about the program, it was a program that gave me the opportunity to really work one-on-one with students and to help prepare them for what college would be like. And these were students that were in the 2.5 and below GPA average. So that really excited me. And I took that on for 4 years, and I was placed at Benson High School. Avenue Scholars is a nonprofit organization. But we were still in the high school, and I really enjoyed that work. Had the opportunity to work with 25 juniors and 25 seniors and to really work to get them to some type of career or get them into college. So that was really exciting. And during my time at Avenue Scholars, I spent some time getting back into school. My wife really encouraged me, and she told me, she said, "Are you going to retire in the gym?" And I said, "Well, what's wrong with that? I didn't have a problem with that at all. That's why I went to school, right?" And so I looked into the DOME program. I was given a nudge by our current principal at Northwest High School, Herman Colvin. He said, you might want to think about the DOME program. It's a program that I went through. It's a really good leadership program. So I decided to take that leap of faith, got involved to the DOME program, and just really fell in love with leadership as I finished that program. And during that program, I told myself that if I'm going to get into leadership, let's start to look and seek for leadership opportunities right away. So when I finished up the program, I was very fortunate to land a position in Torrington, Wyoming. And a lot of people say, wow, Torrington, Wyoming, what led you to Torrington, Wyoming? And I'm a very mission-driven leader. And I looked at their vision and the mission of the district as I was seeking opportunities. And it was something that really excited me. There was quite a bit of poverty in the town, and I really wanted to work and help students. And so I took the leap of faith. My family and I moved out to Torrington, Wyoming. I was the middle school assistant principal for 2 years. And the superintendent knew that I had a high school background, and she thought that I would do well in a high school setting. And there was an opportunity that came available, and I took the leap of faith and I went over to the high school. And at that point, I really got excited because I had an opportunity to help students graduate from high school. The goal of high school is to graduate, and what better than to be in a position to help students do that? So that was my journey up until the point where after 4 years in Wyoming, my wife and I said, let's reevaluate and let's take a look and see, what our next opportunities may be. So we decided to look. And of course, I'm from Omaha. So we looked here in Omaha. We looked in Lincoln because Lincoln's close. And then there were some other opportunities around the country that we had went out and we had some interviews and just really landed a place here in LPS. It was just an excellent opportunity. So that's my leadership journey.
That is fantastic. Tell me, was there somebody early on who inspired you to get involved in education?
Early on, when I was in elementary school, I loved my teachers. And there was a PE teacher by the name of Mr. Frank Catania. The things that we did in PE were so exciting to me. I was able to still use my athletic ability and learn in the process. So that's where I decided early on that I want to be a PE teacher, and there was nothing that was going to stop me. And my third grade teacher, she was in the same building in my elementary school, and she really believed in me, and she saw something in me at a very young age. And I knew that education was the way for me to get out of my current situation, which I lived in poverty. So it was my elementary teachers, Frank and Annie Catania. They were very instrumental in me really thinking about education. And then also I had a first grade teacher by the name of Mrs. Horn at the time, but she ended up marrying our principal at the school, who was Mr. James Freeman. So they were very instrumental in me wanting to be in education. I just absolutely love my teachers, and I knew that this was a journey for me to really take a look at.
So a lot of neat people inspiring you, and now you're passing that on to other kids. That is fantastic. Let me ask. You talked about when you were coming back, you looked at Omaha, you looked at Lincoln, and other areas. What was it that made you decide on LPS?
I went on quite a few interviews before my last interview here in Lincoln. And I knew that it was a really special place the moment that I interviewed because of the process was different. It was very well organized, and it was serious business. And I really appreciated that. And I knew that this was a district that was all about excellence. And that really, really inspired me to want to be a part of it.
Well, I'm glad that you did. And let me tell you that when you are taking over a new high school, it's not just becoming the principal of the high school. You're also going to be helping to shape the culture, the traditions. It feels like this is going to be a huge undertaking. Why did you sign up for the challenge of being the principal at a brand new high school?
Well, I think about mission and vision. And when I think about culture, that's something that really excites me. And I know that when there's a healthy culture, then there's an absolute opportunity for students to be able to excel in an environment that they feel welcome and they feel valued. And that excites me to say, okay, this is something that with the community and with our district, we're going to build this from the ground up, and we're really going to make it a special place for students.
What do you think are going to be some of your biggest challenges in a brand new high school?
Well, I always have this in mind. I always start with the 100% graduation rate, and that's pretty high. I know that the district goal is 90%, but I think of it this way. What 10% are we saying that won't make it? And to me, that's not acceptable.
Acceptable.
And I say 100%, if you are going to come through the doors of Northwest High School, then you will graduate. That's the goal. So we will set our standards high, and that's a challenge in itself because there's a lot of different supports that will have to be put in place, but we will accomplish that goal. And that's
I appreciate you saying that. And when you were telling your story earlier, too, you were talking about how you were reaching out to the kids who might have been having some challenges and might have been underperforming. And you're right. In Lincoln, a high graduation rate is very important to us. Having kids graduate with the tools and the knowledge to be able to go on to whatever their next challenge is. And so having that high graduation rate, this is what we have to do. We have to reach out to the kids who are struggling and find ways to help them through. So I really appreciate you talking about that. We've talked about challenges a little bit. Yeah. What are some of the opportunities that you're excited about?
Just the opportunity to be able to form the bond with Bryan Health. That's really exciting to have students be able to have the opportunity to do a lot of hands-on learning and just seeing what the field has to offer. Just the opportunity to also build with the community and to make this a really special place in the northwest part of town. That's special, and that's just an opportunity that I wouldn't dare miss.
One of our expectations of our principals is that they get to know their community. They get to know the needs of their kids. And it sounds like you are very much up to the task for that. Let me ask you, you've talked about this a little bit, but what drives you? What is your why?
Well, it's really simple. When I get the opportunity to see students and staff accomplish their goals, that drives me. It's the reason why I get out of bed every day. So just to see people be successful, because I know what it's like when you have someone to believe in you. So I want to be that person for not only our students, but our staff as well. And, you know, I like to look at myself as a servant leader, and I come with the attitude of service. So that's my why. That's what drives me every day, that I come to serve. And what better to do it in a newer part of the town and with the new high school.
That is really neat. I think you're going to do incredibly well out at Northwest, and I think that they're going to be very lucky to have you. Thank you so much for your time. I know you've got a lot of work to do, and I can tell you are very dedicated to your students, and I think that this is going to be a great fit for us. Thanks, and very good luck on the coming year and the work we have to do.
Thank you, Don. I definitely appreciate the opportunity, and I will definitely get back here to the middle school students and continue to serve them for the rest of today.
You know, Mindy, this is pretty exciting. We don't open a new high school very often, and I think we've got a great principal at Northwest in Cedric. I think that was very exciting, and I know that there's been a lot of community interest in naming the high schools as well.
Yes, and that process is still going on. So from now until February 28th, if you have an idea on what we should name our new high school located in Northwest Lincoln, or our new high school in South Lincoln on Saltillo Road, or we have yet an elementary school out on 102nd and Holdridge, you can go to our website, lps.org, and you can click on the Name Our Schools link and submit your ideas. We are taking those suggestions until February 28th.
All right, and that's all the time we have for today.
Our next LPS board update will be live on Facebook Tuesday, February 23rd at 5 p.m. Just a reminder, if you have any questions about what you've seen or heard today, you can type them into our chat here on Facebook, or you can submit it by going to our website, lps.org, click on the blue Contact Us button. And with that, thank you for joining us.